Welcome to Keep It Electric with Tremayne Person, episode 48. This recording is taking place on a very rainy Friday, August 23rd. It's a very rainy day in Seattle, and it's almost fitting. The crisp mornings are back, and that's one of my favorite things about Seattle. Love me a chilly, crisp morning. But yesterday marked the first day I was actually bummed at a team that I've been a fanatic of. Bummed at the sight of them letting go of their manager, coach, you name it. Yesterday sucked for me, and I'll get into that. The Mariners are 5.5 games back behind the Houston Astros in the AL West, limping into an upcoming homestand. Lost 2 out of their last 10, coming from a road trip where they went 1-8, fresh off of firing Scott Servais and their hitting coach, Jarrett DeHart. Wait, they had a hitting coach? I had no clue. No one did, really. They didn't look like they had one. Apparently, he's been there since 2019. One of 3, I guess. Why was Brant Brown there again? Anyways, let's jump right into the real news here. I was planning to have a long conversation, I guess, with myself and you all about Scott Servais, and while I'm going through my list of topics for this episode, which was originally going to be recorded yesterday, I catch wind that Scott Servais was being let go, which later was confirmed to be true. Now, I think given the most recent performance of the Seattle Mariners, most recent being like since this last June, we've stunk. Majority of Mariners fans are probably going to rejoice at this news. I have a bit of a different approach. As a person, first and foremost, I don't want anyone to lose employment. I don't root for anything like that. So let's just make that clear. Scott Servais is not the problem. I don't believe the Mariners suddenly become a better team because of this. I think Scott Servais is a great manager, and he's done the best with, honestly, the mediocre talent he's been given. The penny pinching, the players past their prime, all of the bullshit the rest of the front office has given him, he's done his absolute best with that. This is 100% a disservice to Servais. If I were Scott Servais, I would have been planning and expecting this day to come the second Jerry Votto gave me Tommy La Stella. I should have started packing right then. I can only imagine the frustration when Gino gets shipped off, when Kelnick gets shipped off, and then sent back, not in the same sequence here, but in the same offseason. Hey, here's Luke Raley, whom I adore. Don't get me wrong, not a slight against him, but he's had one good season. One. Majority of that season, half of that season, it was spent sitting or hitting in an air-controlled environment in Tampa Bay. Hitting in a division filled with stadiums the size of a cat litter box. Luke Raley is not going to solve your hitting deficiency. Why do you think Minnesota was so eager to finally get rid of Jorge Polanco? Why do you think Mitch Garver was still on the market? Why do you think the Giants were totally fine trading back Mitch Haniger? All players past their prime. Again, not trying to drag them, because I can honestly see both sides here. Like, their veteran presence is good for the locker room, but these guys are no longer everyday guys. We have 3 total positions that are set it and forget it: center field, shortstop, and catcher. When healthy, we know that J-Rod, JP, and Cal will be in the lineup. The rest is filled with names no one outside of Seattle has ever heard of, or players past their prime sent out to pasture, or I guess in this reference, the western corner of the U.S. where no one is looking. Again, this is not on Servais. Could he have managed the game better? Sure. That's a lot of managers. But this isn't on him. He's just the next in line for front office to make an example out of. Servais finishes his Mariners career with a winning percentage of 51%, 680 wins, 642 losses, a winning record 5 out of his 8 full seasons, finished second in the AL Manager of the Year voting in 2021, third in 2022. 2022, I definitely think he should have won that one. That's neither here nor there. He'll find work if he wants to continue managing. I'm not sure he'll take over a club, but he'll find a place in an organization somewhere simply because of the value and presence that he brings. Dan Wilson takes over as the manager. Not interim manager, which I think we all initially thought, but club manager, Dan Wilson. So, just curious, like, somehow within a couple days, they were able to fire their club manager and replace him. No manager search, no interview process. They immediately just came up with the solution. We're going to let go of Scott Servais. We're going to bring in Dan Wilson. Hey, let's replace the former MLB catcher turned first-time club manager with a former MLB catcher and first-time club manager. That'll fix the problem. This changes nothing. Absolutely nothing. Dan Wilson is a beloved Mariner great, and I get that. He, apparently filled in on managing some games at Tacoma. He was some type of coordinator down there. I get that. He played 14 years in the MLB, 12 of them in Seattle. Considered the best catcher to ever suit up for the Mariners. Understood. Cal, I think he's definitely on his way of giving him a run for that title, but he and Cal do have a close relationship. That's a match made in heaven. I get that. But Wilson doesn't have any management experience at all. So he's going to oversee the last 34 games of the season and then pick up where he left off last year, or for next year. Apparently, Edgar Martinez is back. He'll be joining Dan Wilson on the staff. He was the hitting coach for the Mariners in 2015 to 2018, which, if you look at those stats, they were better. He was in an advisor role for the club since then. Most people know Edgar. If you don't, Edgar was one of the best hitters of his generation. This is too little too late, if you ask me. Should have been done a long time ago if they were ever going to think about him coming back or ask for him to come back. Looks like they're trying to salvage the rest of their season. Before all this news broke out, I was going to say that if we did decide to move on from Servais, which I thought they would at least, let him finish the rest of the season, if we were going to move away from Servais, I would have really hoped that they would have given an opportunity or at least have a conversation with Christopher Negron to lead the club. And that's not only because he's got the best shoe game amongst all of MLB managers. Well, some of it is, but also, like, the guy has been unwavering and steadfast in his managerial journey. He deserves a shot. Outwardly, just like, I don't know what's going on in the club room, but, like, he has clearly developed a positive relationship with the players. I, again, am aware that I'm on the outside looking in, but outwardly, just watching him with the players, the vibe is there. So I don't understand why they just ruled him out immediately. I know traditionally next man up for Servais, if you go back to like the COVID years where Manny Acta, who's the third base coach, when Servais got COVID, Manny Acta also got COVID. So then Christopher Negron ended up being like the club manager for a game, which they won. But I like Negron. He's only out of the game like via retired from being a Major League Baseball player since 2019. So he's 38 years young. I think he can still resonate with the players now. And honestly, like, I really don't understand why this guy doesn't really, he should get a shot to grow into the role like the rest of the young players that we do have. So to me, that just makes sense, but that's it just is what it is. Before I wrap up this topic, I'm going to move back towards Scott Servais because if you can't already tell, like, I feel a kind of way about this move. The guy found out he was fired before he was even told by his long-term coworker, friend, teammate, Jerry DiPillo. He found out he was fired before he even met with him. Like, how does this get leaked before your meeting? How is this posted in media outlets that the Mariners have a new manager? How the hell does the wiki page have an update? You can search the Seattle Mariners and it says club manager Dan Wilson before you even tell Servais he's unemployed. It's posted worldwide. It's posted worldwide that y'all are going to have a Zoom meeting about his firing. This is beyond sloppy and reeks of dog shit in a crock pot. Your house is out of order. Dan Wilson ain't going to fix it. What a way to treat a guy who led your team to end a 21-year playoff drought. Servais is a good man. He's really a respected guy. I wouldn't say that he lost the clubhouse here. I think the players in the clubhouse have a mega ton of respect for him. They love to play for him and probably really not over the moon about this move either. When other franchises I love in other sports get rid of their coach, I normally look forward to the future because time and time again, I'm usually over the coach. I'm not over Servais. Servais lost a ton of support, and many are still bitter about him putting in Robbie Ray in that postseason game against the Astros. I too agree that wasn't the best move. We all knew what was going to happen. People were calling for the dude's head at that time. Honestly, though, when you really look at it, and I'm just going to try to play devil's advocate, why not put in Robbie Ray? Why not put in the guy that the front office wanted to pay $23 million a year to? If I'm Scott Servais, don't protect him. You're in the playoffs. You need one out. This is your guy, right? He's the best. Let's put in the best against the best. We all know the outcome of that. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I don't think this all falls on Servais. Servais didn't pay that guy. Servais didn't ask for that guy. Servais isn't going to make Mitch Garver, who's only eclipsed 20 home runs in a season one time in his career, suddenly hit 25 bombs and over 75 ribbies as a DH. His healthiest year, he played 102 games, hit 31 home runs and 67 ribbies. We need more production than that. That was in 2019. Polanco's best season, 2021. Haniger's best season, 2021. Dylan Moore, who knows his role on the team, also isn't going to be a big-time player for you no matter whose shoes he's trying to fill for the night. I'm sure everyone's getting the point here. All of that to say, the Mariners failed Scott Servais, and it's not the other way around, no matter how you slice it. So cool. Get rid of the guy. Let a good guy like Scott Servais take the fall, because that's how disgusting business works. We're not all fools. Those that do know what this is, and I think there's plenty of you out there, those that do know what this is know that firing Servais changes absolutely nothing about this flailing, poorly ran organization. You can only hope that they have a pulse. We can only hope that they really get their shit together. Maybe give back to their fans who are paying egregious amounts of dollars that you are profiting off of. Give back to the fans. Give them a real team. They're business folks, right? They do know that the Sonics are coming back in town soon, right? Seahawks have already proven that they have good ownership. Hell, the Seattle Storm are making moves. What happens when your baseball team is the least cared about team in the city that they sleep in? They're already a laughingstock around the MLB. We still wear their colors with pride. Shame on them for antagonizing us, and shame on us for continuing to buy in. It's on us too. With that said, I have much more to cover here about the news. I'm feeling a certain kind of way. Thank you, Scott Servais, for doing everything you could for this franchise. With that said, we're going to take a quick break and transition into the next topic. I want to take a moment to say congratulations to Joey Votto. 17 years in the major leagues, Votto announced his retirement via his hilarious and enigmatic Instagram page. 17 years playing baseball for the Cincinnati Reds, 6-time All-Star, won the MVP in 2010, probably my favorite first baseman to ever play the game, arguably on my top 10 list of favorite players of all time, and I really mean that. The guy wasn't just amazing on the baseball field, but he was pure entertainment all the time, especially playing for a small market like the Reds. Give this man a microphone and he just captures you. He's a student of the game. His love for baseball was always undeniable, wildly self-aware of himself and his talent all the way throughout his career, all the way down to this 2024 season where he signed a minor league contract with the Blue Jays. Votto worked really hard for a chance to play for a Canadian team and play for his country, and he admitted that he's no longer good enough to make the main roster, even though he tried his absolute best. Uh, the guy also had 2 seasons as an Iron Man, playing all 162 games in 2013 and 2017. With him retiring, he'll be eligible for the Hall of Fame in 5 years. If you were to ask me, I would easily say he's a Hall of Famer. But when you look at it, career batting average of 294, 2,100 hits, 356 homers, over 1,100 ribbies. Traditional benchmarks, he's kind of right under that. The benchmarks are usually around 3,000 hits, 500 homers. That basically guarantees you the Hall of Fame, so it's not saying that he's not going to get in. Votto went on a 10-year stretch where he was easily top 5 in the game between also between 2007 and 2023. Those were his active years. His OPS was third in the league behind Mike Trout and David Ortiz, who I think are certified Hall of Famers, right? He was second in runs created behind Miggy Cabrera. Fourth best player in career wins above average in Reds history. Given the way the game's evolved, and he's kind of evolved with those times, I think you won't really see numbers like this consistently replicated. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't know about first ballot, but I definitely think he'll find his way in there. Now back to the Mariners. They head into a 6-game homestand. 3-game set against the 65 and 64 San Francisco Giants, followed by a 3-game set with the 64 and 63 Tampa Bay Rays. All teams, including the Mariners, they're all hovering around 500. With this new change in the organization, I'm not really sure what to expect. The Mariners are 5.5 games back behind the Astros. They really aren't out of the race. If they can stay within striking distance, this could be a whole different conversation when the Mariners and the Astros match up at the end of September. We could very well still be watching postseason baseball. Wilson taking over, Edgar Martinez back in the fold. This could be a shot in the arm for the team. I don't know. I will say one positive thing about this is both Wilson and Martinez are both well respected within the organization. They're well regarded. So I don't want them to think, or I don't want anyone to think that this is me disapproving them taking over. I think if they had to choose, these are two good guys to choose. We'll learn a lot about this team over the next week and see if they are really packing it in and preparing for next year, or if they are preparing to make one last push for this year. I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. I'll be back to talk more about the new look organization and the team next week. Until then, keep it electric. Go Mariners.